Jonathan Majors has a movie that came out today, Magazine Dreams, which I cannot wait to see. It looks great.
It does.
However,
I've been excited about it as well.
yeah, we've been talking about it off pod. That's
Hmm.
for sure. And unfortunately, some audio was leaked earlier this week by Rolling Stone, and it is Jonathan Majors admitting that he did this. I don't know what we could say and not say here on the YouTube, but he wrapped his arms around someone's throat and added some pressure, you know. And he admits to that and says even though he did it, it was unaggressed or he was aggressed.
Yeah.
Basically, that he
He
was
was
not the
aggressive.
person who started
He,
it, that
he
he
said it
wasn't
was
being aggressive.
he said he was under aggress, which means
Under aggress.
yeah, which means he was not the aggressor. He was provoked.
There you go. And so that audio came out the other day. And I thought, man, bad timing for Jonathan Majors, whoever had this audio. They waited till a really good time, a really opportunistic time to release this audio.
They did.
We don't know who gave it to Rolling Stone, uh, but Rolling Stone has it and leaked it or posted it. I don't know why it's called a leak, but that's a conversation for another day. Anyway,
Yeah, it's not a leak. They wrote a story about it and put it out. It's
yeah, I
not a
don't know
leak.
why people are saying it was leaked, but anyway. So this audio comes out. Like I said, they wrote an article, and so Jonathan Majors at the same time is on a press tour, a press run for Magazine Dreams, which makes perfect sense because the movie comes out today when we're recording this. The movie came out today when we're recording this.
Hmm.
And so Jonathan Majors was asked about the audio. And I'd like to play y'all his
He
response.
said, "At the end of the day gotta end."
I'm going to just play it if that's okay.
Please.
When something like this comes out during the week of your film's release, how did that make you feel? I was so grateful that I had done my work, and continue to and I'm continuing to do my work. I can't speak to it, but obviously, to you talking about it, there are vibrations, reverberations, same as everything before, you know. Um, but I was just, I was happy I'd done my work, you know. Um, I was happy I'd done it. You said recently in an interview that when you have struggle, learn, metabolize. This incident happened just this week, so you haven't really had too much time to process it. What have you been able to metabolize since it was? Yeah, living life, you know. When something like this comes out during the
All right. There it is. That's the audio.
And he continues to do his press tour, and there continue to be stories about his marriage that happened this week, the same day,
The
or
next day.
or the day after the audio is released. It all kind of happened at the same time, and I'm going to go out on a limb and say none of it was a coincidence because there are very little coincidences.
Sorry. My cousins,
Yep.
Uh,
So,
yeah, so you were saying Jonathan Majors got married.
he got married to Megan Good this week. Hours later, we found out about the audio. Um,
Yep.
and he's been on a press tour. Sherry Shepherd, he was on the Sherry Shepherd show. And the
So,
reason I'm bringing up Sherry Shepherd is because she had the unmitigated gall. What was it, 2 weeks ago? To talk about how women like Megan the Stallion etc., etc. I can't remember everybody she named, but she definitely spoke to Megan Thee Stallion about the way they were dressed for the Vanity Fair party after the Oscars a couple weeks ago. She had a lot of fucking nerve to get on her show and talk about how they're not good role models for young girls. And then had the audacity to have Jonathan Majors on her show and gush with him about his relationship with Megan Good and his marriage to Megan Good mere hours after this audio came out. As far as I'm concerned, fuck everybody right now, because everybody's acting like this didn't happen. Everybody's acting like this audio didn't come out. And I don't care for it at all. At least let's acknowledge that it came out. At least let's not pretend that it's all sunshine and roses with Jonathan Majors and Megan Good. And then what? I guess they're playing the sympathy card, because not long ago, a couple hours ago, I see he did an interview where he said that she lost jobs because she stuck by him. Yeah, because you abuse women. Yes, your girl would lose jobs. Yes, absolutely. That makes sense. Why is this not making sense to anyone? I'm so frustrated with this story. I didn't even want to come here and talk about this. I knew we had to, but what is this? What is this? Like, can we at least acknowledge that the audio came out?
Also,
This is insanity. I saw Demetria Lucas post, I think it was this morning. She was like, "Are we missing something here?" Like, and she was the first person who said it. And this is exactly what I was thinking. Like, what is happening right now? Because everyone's pretending like the audio didn't come out.
right.
Literally everyone. He's been everywhere in the last 2 days. Media blitz.
Yeah. Well, we should add the people who the interview was with, I believe, was Complex. So they did
Well, I
ask.
appreciate them for asking. But for the most part, I've seen multiple interviews that he has done in the last 2 days. And it's like nothing ever happened. All they want to talk about is him him eloping this week.
Right.
Have we all lost our minds?
I mean, I would say, yeah.
It's just crazy. It's insane. It is insane.
Yeah. Wait, before I go, you got more? Because, when you go off, I like to give you the room to do so.
One more thing. To all
Yep.
of y'all. Each and every last one of y'all saying the timing is sketchy. Yes, the timing is sketchy. Of course it's sketchy. Yes, because you know what? Sometimes the same way 3 days before his movie comes out, you start seeing him all over the place. They wanted impact. Whoever wanted this audio released wanted impact too. And this thing we do where we act like the act of exposing someone, for lack of a better word, but the act of like telling the truth or being honest about someone is somehow not as big as the way you expose something. Please get over it. Get over it. If you behave badly, you're going to be subject to whatever comes to you. So I don't understand. I don't get being hung up on the timing of it. Yeah, the timing is weird because they knew that all of y'all would be paying attention right now.
Right.
That's why they chose this timing. So what? That doesn't change the fact that this audio exists.
Right.
I'm done.
Well, the audio is a smart move on whoever had its part, right? Because you're going to hold that it's like playing spades. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna hold that big joker if you got it, or that good card if you got it,
Hmm.
until a moment when you know, oh, they think they about to get some shit off.
Yep.
Bow! Here's my card, baby.
Yep.
And so they had the audio. Oh, I could lock this. I'm like, why is my screen lighting? They had the audio and they were waiting. They also knew, whoever they is,
Hmm.
that Magazine Dreams was coming and he
Yeah.
would be on the press run at some point for Magazine Dreams. So you wait. This is called strategery, as President Bush once said.
Because the
Strategery.
assumption, yes, because the assumption is that he's going to have to answer to it.
While on
But
the press tour.
but the okey doke is that nobody's asking him about it except for, you said it was Complex.
Yeah.
Except for them. Nobody's asking him about it.
Right.
This is like the one of the few times that the impact, or like the way it went down, didn't have an effect, and I'm trying to figure out why, cuz he's Jonathan Majors, not Will Smith. He's Jonathan Majors, not Denzel. And I don't care what trajectory he was on, he is not them.
Yeah, I think, I'll be honest, my opinion, not a fact, my opinion is, I think, just my thoughts, I don't have proof or evidence for this. I know, I just want to say that first. I think people seeing him running all of Chelsea away from the woman really is what was left on people's minds. And so people have this thing where they say, I've heard it multiple places and speaking to people as well, that Jonathan Majors was running away from the woman. He was not the aggressor. They had a toxic relationship, and that's that. So I think this audio of him saying, this is my opinion, I think this audio of him saying, yeah, but I wasn't the aggressor, is what people are just looking at it as more of that. Like, oh, okay, well, it's more of the same. I'm not saying I think that. I'm not saying that's okay. I'm only saying what I think, the way I think people are receiving it. Like, this is old. This is from that same situation. And he's saying, I wasn't the aggressor.
I wasn't the aggressor, but I choked you out. That shit is wild to me. It don't even matter, and that's what I'm talking about. Like the thing, the egregious thing, somehow gets minimized because of the way it happened, and whatever.
Oh, come on, speak.
It doesn't negate the thing that happened. It
Right.
doesn't negate the big thing that happened.
Right.
I'm
No,
not
yep.
I'm not saying that woman is a saint at all, but you still have to answer for what you do. And if
I
that's
agree
what
with
you
that.
did, then you need to answer for that.
Well, he already had his day in court. So I don't know what there is to answer for. I do think it becomes challenging when there's a situation where both people are doing things to each other. And I clearly was not in the relationship with them, but based on what we have seen and heard during the trial, it seems like they both were doing things to each other. And I understand that, yeah, people are going to say she's this skinny little girl, not girl, excuse me, she's this really skinny short woman, and he's this large, at that time, very brolic dude. So it's not an even playing field. Um, the DV is wrong, and it shouldn't be done on either side. I think the challenge comes when it happens on both sides, because I don't know how people perceive it when it happens on both sides. Now, what I do think is that this audio is bad. I do think there should be a bigger reaction to it. I just think, sadly, people are looking at it like, oh, but that's from that old thing. We already know they were toxic together. I also think Jonathan Majors is completely full of shit. I'm glad you know lots of vocabulary words, but uh-oh, you still there?
Mhm.
Oh, okay. The screen did something weird. I just wanted to make sure. Jonathan Majors likes to use words that people don't really use. And he likes to use words in ways that makes it sound like he's saying something real good. I was under aggressed. In the interview they asked him, he's, oh yeah, there are reverberations. Dude, listen, you could use the uncommon words and you could use the earthy words if you want to.
And the
It
crying.
doesn't change. Huh?
And the crying. He's now
And the
cried
crying,
multiple times.
right? It doesn't change what happened, and we can see clearly you're not answering the question. How do you feel? Well, you're talking about it. Obviously,
Mhm.
there's reverberations and vibrations, and nigga, you didn't answer the question, and we can see that.
And then just and really honestly, he kind of says it, but then say I can't speak about that, and then just move on. But all of the extra fluff,
Right.
it's just
That's all.
uh,
Better to say, I agree. Better to say, I can't talk about it.
exactly. Or I'm not going to talk
And if
about
you're
it.
paying attention, he did answer the second question. He said you didn't have a lot of time to process it, but where you at with it right now? I'm living life. He don't give a fuck.
No.
He don't give a fuck. And his
He's
media
happy
team
and in
is
love
smart.
because same Sherry Shepherd episode, he was crying, talking about, man, I love that woman. Yeah, because she was losing jobs for you. That's love.
Oh, I don't believe that. I don't believe it's love. I believe this is a contract relationship that will end within the next year.
I was being sarcastic.
Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize.
I
But
don't
I
think
have
that
felt this relationship has been fake from the beginning. And, you can cry and show us your acting skills as much as you like. It does not mean shit to me. When you continue to do weird stuff together, it shows a lot to me. And I'll stand on the ledge. I know a lot of people think it's real at this point. Cool. I don't. I think just like the Taylor Swift relationship, the Jonathan Majors relationship is bullshit.
Nah,
I think it is a
it is.
business arrangement because I think it's the same thing. I
I
think
know,
it's a
I'm
business
kidding.
arrangement. That's what I think. I think Taylor Swift has business with the NFL, and so she's doing them a solid. This is part of their business. And I think Jonathan Majors and Megan Good have a contract with whatever people are in the background hooking this up. That's what I think. I don't think your mother, first of all, I don't think you're getting haircuts from her dad in the backyard. No, nigga, not the way men love their barber. And I know I'm looking like I need to see a barber, but I just want to say that. No, niggas is not leaving their barber so your dad could cut his hair in the backyard. No. Okay? And his mom officiating the wedding in a backyard, dog, stop. It's not believable. Okay? Their PR team is good. Their managing squad, whoever's doing all this in the background, pulling the puppet strings, Geppetto style, they're good. But I don't believe it for a second. I think all this shit is hogwash. Straight up bullshit. Okay? I'm going to see Magazine Dreams. It looks phenomenal. But yes, it is challenging to do so when you hear this audio and you see the very clear bullshit they're doing. Because to get married the same day or the next day, whatever, hours later, hours after this audio comes out, it's like, dog, this is a clear misdirect. Like, this is a clear, I'm gonna show you my right hand so you never think about my left hand. Like, dog, stop.
Yep.
The reverberations. I wish we named our episodes like other people. I would just call this episode The Reverberation.